So coming to the service model, so far we have seen the deployment models. What are their formats like? How they look like when we see in a diagrammatic format, right? And coming to the service model, we have three kind of a service models, right, available currently when we talk about cloud computing. So that is SaaS. It's a software as a service. So you can opt software as a service. You can subscribe for that. Then platform as a service is another services which are offered by service providers, cloud service providers. Then we have infrastructure as a service. This is another format of service model. So let's go ahead and see these model in detail now. SaaS is software as a service, right? So it's a full form. In simple terms, software deployed as a hosted service is access over the internet. So I believe this could be the simplest definition. So software which is deployed on hosted services and which can be accessed or consumed over the net. So that service is software as a service. So I could give a example here. So if I talk about Microsoft, right, Office 360, those are actually a software as a service. So you can subscribe for mails, email solution, Exchange online. You can subscribe for SharePoint online. We have offering on Lync. So those are example of software as a service. Right? So who are subscriber, right? If I talk about software as a service, right? Who are the consumer, right? Organization providing their members or employees with access to typical software applications such as email. So as I said, softwares are actually deployed on the cloud provider premises in the public cloud, right? And the subscriber will consume, right? So these subscribers are your organization employees. What does the subscriber get? The right to use specific application on demand and application data management such as backup and data sharing between subscribers. So these are the services which are consumed by subscribers. How usage fees are calculated in such scenarios? Typically based on number of users, the time in use, per execution, per record process, network bandwidth consumed or used, and quantity or duration of data stored. Right? So in cloud computing, right, there are like a lot of reporting mechanism, right? Generally, companies who are providing cloud computing, they have a sophisticated tool which can give a very in-depth reports, right? And based on those, fees are actually calculated, or subscription fees are calculated for consumers. Then another service model is PaaS, which is full form is platform as a service. So PaaS provides a toolkit for conveniently deploying and administrating application software that is structured to support large number of subscribers, process very large quantities of data, and can be accessed from any point in the internet. Okay. So this is the definition of PaaS. Platform as a service, if I talk about some example, right? It could be Windows Azure, right? So we have a service called as Windows Azure. So it's kind of it's provide a set of software building blocks where you can subscribe for that. You can build your own set of development tools, right? It provides tools, right? And you can do programming. We can provide programming language. So you can develop your own tools, software using platform as a service. So it typically provides a set of software building blocks and a set of deployment tools such as programming language and supporting runtime environments that facilitate the construction of high quality scalable application. So this service is actually valuable. It's very valuable, right, for the organization who are into software development. So they can create their own application using platform as a service on cloud. And the biggest advantage, as I said, of cloud computing is as long as you want to use it, you can use it. If you feel you don't want to use it, you can just discontinue it, right? There is no need of like calculating the licensing costs and all those stuff, right? But on the other part, if you are purchasing your own applications and developing tools, right, that is a cost, right? So in case of PaaS, who are the subscribers? So subscriber could be application developers who design and implement an application software. It could be application testers who run application in various testing environment, possibly cloud-based. Application deployers, right, who publish completed application into the cloud and manage possible conflict arising from multiple versions of an application. Or the subscriber could be application administrator who configure, tune, and monitor application performance on a specific platform. Or application end users who subscribe to the application deployed on a PaaS cloud to end user access to application the same as using a SaaS cloud. So this is another very good format, right? The application user who subscribe to the application deployed on a PaaS cloud to end users, right? And access the application the same as using a SaaS cloud. What does the subscriber get? So in PaaS, the use of PaaS cloud provided tools and execution resources to develop, test, deploy, and administer your own application. So this is the service which the subscriber get if they opt for PaaS. How the fees is calculated now? So it typically based on number of subscribers, the kind of subscribes, right? Example could be developers versus application and users, or storage, processing, or network resources consumed by the platform, requested services, and the time the platform is in use. So, and there could be like combination. So suppose if my application want to use some SQL, right, in the background. So in this case, we would be calculating the fees if we are taking an extra component of SQL database, right? So those things need to be considered when we calculate the usage fees, right, for cloud computing in PaaS. Okay. So coming to infrastructure as a service, it's another form, okay, which is called as infrastructure as a service, another form of service offerings. So infrastructure as a service is deliver computer infrastructure, typically a platform virtualization environment as a service, along with raw block storage and networking. So infrastructure as a service, a subscriber actually demands for the infrastructure. So infrastructure, as I said, it could be a virtualized platform or a networking resource or a storage resource. Rather than purchasing server, software, data center space, or network equipment, client instead buy those resources as a full outsourced service. And generally, infrastructure as a service offerings are actually self-provisioned, right? You can increase or decrease resources as and when you need to. You can just demand these resources online. Okay, so who are the subscribers for infrastructure as a service? Generally, in an organization, it could be system administrators, right, who require the infrastructure kind of a service, maybe the VMs, maybe the storage, maybe the networking. Right? What does a subscriber get? If you are a consumer of this service, what they get? Access to virtual computers, network accessible storage, network infrastructure components such as firewall and configuration services. So these are the things which are actually consumed in infrastructure as a service. How are usage fees calculated? Typically per CPU hour, data or data GB stored per hour, network bandwidth consumed, or network infrastructure use, example IP addresses. So if you are demanding for like 5 system, 5 IP, so the fees could be calculated on based on those parameters. Or value added services used, example monitoring, automating scaling. So these are the few criteria, right, based on what usage fees would be calculated if you are consuming infrastructure as a service. So if I see the overall service placement, right, in cloud computing, so service placement would something look like to this diagram, right? You have a server, you have a desktop, you have a tablet, you have phones, you have a laptops, right, which are connecting over the internet. Okay, and then you have an infrastructure layer where you have a network, you have a storage, you have a servers, you have a virtualized servers, right? You have a VMs, right? All those are part of your infrastructure or the infrastructure as a service, right? So you can say this could be a cloud layer, right? Then you have another layer which is a platform as a service, what is offered at this layer. Okay, then you have object storage in this, you have identity management, you have a runtime queue, databases. So all those things actually comes under platform as a service offering. Then you have another layer at top which is application, right? Or you can say it's a innermost core in the cloud sphere. Okay, so in this you have like monitoring the content, collaboration, communication, and you have application hosted or subscribed, right, as software as a service. So this is another layer when we talk about service placements. And of course, these are residing in the cloud, so it could be public, private, or community, or it could be mix of various deployment models, which is called as hybrid. And these are consumed using tablet, desktop, laptops, phones, connected servers connected over the internet.